Well, good morning, everybody. We're so glad you're here. This is Sandy from Suburban Homesteader, Wyoming, Arizona.
I'm Monica from Bland's Promised Land Ranch.
Good morning. It's Casey over at Ormsby Farms. Wait, I think we're missing somebody. Oh yeah, and Dale. She's on the road because she's a huge, giant celebrity. There she is.
Hi, everybody. It's Ann from Andale Homestead. I'm so glad you're here. We are on our way down to Jemison, Alabama for the Great Fall Garden Festival at Petals from the Past. We, as in my daughter and all the grandchildren, so you might hear some talking in the background. But I'm just happy to be here. Thank you.
We love having Ann on, even when she's driving and going to super fun events. And I think one of us is going to have to. I don't know if Ann can read the comments when I pull them up, so somebody may have to say hello. This is the 1 week we're going to miss having Ann saying hello to everybody. So you'll have to come back next week for that. But
I'm
Sandy,
sorry,
do you
y'all.
want to do the honor, Sandy?
Sure. We have Makeup Mom and Son. Isn't that an interesting name? Good morning. And Joe, thanks for coming in. We appreciate
Hey,
it.
Joe.
Oh, Lisa is here. Hello. How are you? Adventures in Gardening. Now that makes you think this morning, too. Good morning. BP, good morning. Thanks for coming in. Radine, I love that. And Dorothy is here, of course. Dorothy, thanks so much. And Cynthia, good morning. Not for nothing, Homestead. We so appreciate you. Beyond words, I tell ya.
Beyond, yes.
Tamra, how are ya? Just people are just popping in. I love it.
Pop it in, pop it in.
It's
All
wonderful
right.
to have everyone here today.
Yeah. And we actually were off last week because there's another grandmama or granny or grandma or nana, or she hasn't decided what she's being called yet, but I'm gonna pop her up and embarrass her real fast. And that
Yay!
hers is the grandma now, y'all.
I
Hers is
was
the grandma.
so excited. We started labor started Wednesday night. And so Thursday, I literally couldn't record the podcast or anything. And I was texting Casey and I'm like, the baby is coming. And so yeah, he was born at 4:30 in the afternoon on Wednesday. And I am so excited. I mean, he is literally the cutest thing you've ever seen. He's got all this hair and he is just beautiful. So, yeah. And I don't know what I'm going to be called yet, but he's already a week old and it's hard to believe. So, by Friday morning, I was wiped out. I mean, wiped out because I was there with her the whole time and nobody slept and it was just insane, but it was awesome. So, thank you for waiting for me because I was like,
And
let's
I
do
think we
the
should take
podcast.
votes in the chat. What do you think Monica should be called? Let's hear some
Yeah.
of the names. Put it in the
What
chat.
should I
Go
be
ahead.
called? I'm only 46, so I'm not, I'm not like an 85-year-old yet. So, but I will be eventually, Lord willing. So I need a good name that's going to withstand the test of time
I
here.
vote Meemaw. It's very
Meemaw. Okay,
southern,
that's
but
kind of cute though, right? And I am in
Meemaw.
Texas, and these are all going to be Texas
I was
babies,
gonna say,
probably.
Ann, you got to back me up on that one because that's us Southerners know the Meemaws.
Yeah, I had Momo. I had Momo and Mom and Grandmommy. Those are the three names that they call me. But Momo's one that has stuck a
That's
lot. So and that's easier to say for little babies. I thought Grandmommy, but they're just, that's a hard thing for say. My name was the last one that any of them said. So I vote for something short and easy.
Yeah,
short.
I kind of like
and
that
easy.
too. Let's see. Oh, look, Not for Nothing Homestead's on the road too, headed to Pedals in the Past.
Fun.
That's awesome.
So, because we weren't here last week, we're actually going to be talking about two of our
Yep.
episodes. Two of our episodes, and
Meemaw.
they kind of tie together. Oh, someone said I beat him to it. Meemaw, there's a vote. Okay.
I
So,
love
our
it.
two episodes that came out were The Preserving Wars,
Mhm.
and we had about I Grew What, when you're caught up in the moment, and you put a bunch of seeds in, and then you get a ton and you don't know what to do with it. So those were our two podcasts for the past 2 weeks. I have a poll over on Orange Farm if you want to go vote, and it is, what team are you? Are you team canner? Are you team
Mhm.
freezer? Are you team dehydrator? Or are you team freeze dryer? Sandy, what are you, as we're going into what team? What is your favorite way of preserving?
Well, gosh, I do all of them but the freeze dryer because I don't have a freeze dryer because I don't know, because
Come
I had
on,
to pay
Harvest Right, send us
for
some.
harvest rights. Send us some. Um, but honestly, I really love dehydrating. I really love the fact that it takes up such a little bit of space. And a lot of times I will dehydrate it and then put it in my Vitamix and it just becomes powder.
Mhm.
And I can add it to soups and casseroles and just all kinds of stuff. And so I say dehydrating.
So
What
we have
about
one for dehydrator. What about you, Miss Ann?
I think, well, I love dehydrating. I love vacuum sealing, but honestly, canning is just so cool. I mean, I got to go with the electric pressure canner, quite frankly.
Now, I don't know if you saw this one, Monica, but Mama Monica. What about you, Mama Monica?
Monica. Monica. Well,
Oh,
you know, when I play games with everybody and even in the chats and stuff that I have with my kids, my name is Momica, Momica instead of Monica. So we go with Momica sometimes. Oh, that's so cute. Manana. There you go. It's like Monica and Nana. There it is.
so, Monica. What is
Monica.
your favorite way of preserving?
My favorite way to preserve is probably canning. I really do. I'm with Miss Ann. I love to can. It's easy for me now. And dehydrating, I've tried so many times and I've done it successfully with lots of things, but sometimes I feel like I'm not doing it enough. And then I guess I get really worried about the moisture content because we do live in a more humid climate and it gets really humid here in North Texas. So I have issues with lack of drying possibly or freaking out that I could get it molded. So dehydrating isn't my choice number one. I do it, but I really love to can. Canning is my thing. That's my jam right now. And with the electric pressure canner, I know we feel like you all would think that we get paid to say it. We do not get
We
paid to
really
say that we
don't.
love this. We should.
We
Um,
should.
but we don't. And honestly, it has probably been one of my favorite kitchen tools I've ever had. And I may have more than one at this time.
No judgment.
No judgment. So,
Hey, I found something out about the electric pressure canner. Our cord messed up on the Carry electric pressure canner.
yeah.
So if you have, you can order more cords, but if you have some problems, the Instapot works. The Instapot cord works on the electric pressure canner. Great. So you don't have to get a replacement. You can just swap
What?
cords.
You heard it here, y'all.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right,
In
Casey.
fact,
So that's
yeah, I
really
mean,
cool.
when I went to go and purchase another cord, it said compatible with Instapot, Carry, Nesco, all those kinds of things. So we tried it and it worked great.
awesome? What about you, Casey?
I know I was thinking, I really like dehydrating, but I really like my electric pressure canner. Um, I think I'm gonna, only because I have a story about the electric pressure canner and why I love to use it. I'm going to say canning, but I'm getting more of a dehydrating mindset because I saw somebody dehydrate guacamole, and I know, Monica, that was my face too. And because it's, I know we can, because if you've listened to other episodes, Sandy tells us that you can create a microclimate and then have the avocado trees, even though I think it takes like 4 billion years to
Mm-mm.
get an avocado. No, just 1
No,
billion.
no, just a few years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just like, is it the same as like apples and stuff?
No, apples are longer.
Oh, well,
Yeah,
see,
yeah.
I may be tested wrong, but um, I like the canning side of it. It's therapeutic. And let me tell y'all, before I started canning, I would, you have dinner, you have leftovers. What do? You grab Tupperware or a Ziploc bag and you put it in it and you throw it in the fridge. Last night, we did spaghetti squash and meat sauce. I had a lot of leftover. Dumped it all into a quart jar, put a 4-jar lid on, threw it in that electric pressure canner overnight. So I'm not even doing I'm literally getting to go to bed and it's doing the work. It's working the night shift. And then you get up in the morning, you take it out, you put it. I mean, it's the easiest way to not clutter your fridge. So that long story short, I'm gonna say canning, team canner.
Yeah, and I have found, Monica, as well as you, being such in such a humid
Yeah.
climate, when I dehydrate, I have to make sure that I vacuum seal or get it in a jar with an oxygen absorber really fast because the moisture will come right back. I mean, I love dehydrating, and herbs and things like that is just fabulous for it. But
Yeah.
it will, if I let it sit in the dehydrator, it gets moist again. So that's something to think
Interesting.
about.
Yeah, because I live in a very dry climate. So I don't have those issues. But let me tell you about freeze drying. I wanted a freeze dryer for a long time, and my daughter has one. And so she freeze dries all this stuff, and she wants all my extra vegetables that I'm not going to use this year because she'll be here in a couple weeks. And she freeze dried Skittles, which are amazing when you freeze dry them.
Oh, they're so
But
good.
but then she took them into the Vitamix and ground them all up so you can sprinkle them on the frosting on cookies, cakes, and popcorn and all kinds of stuff. And I thought, whoa, you know, I never even thought about doing something like that. So if you have a freeze dryer, there's even more possibilities.
I think my mind was just blown because I do love freeze dried Skittles. And what did I have? It was a freeze dried. Was it a Snickers or a Milky Way? One of them. I can't remember. But thinking about if you powdered that up, like you said, and put it
Yeah.
on popcorn, oh
Yeah.
my goodness gracious, alive! I just can't, my mind is blown.
Well, you can do that with dehydrating though, can't you, to a certain
Yes.
point where you can
Yes.
powder it? Because I think you told
Yes.
me about pickles or whatever before,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and you can sprinkle that on things, right? So you can do the
Right.
pickles, you can dehydrate them. I
Yeah.
never thought about that. I'm like, dehydrating pickles?
Why not be crazy and just try things?
Yeah.
I
I did
did
also
try.
listen to, oh, I'm sorry. I was just going to say with the pickles, because mine were too salty, I blended the ones up to use it for like a seasoning salt and put it with some potato chips.
Awesome. Yeah,
Oh,
I did try making my potato chips. They were the flavor changes. They were not our favorite. I did put them in a Ziploc bag to hold on to for a little while. If we're absolutely starving, we might be able to eat those. But man, they I did. It was operator era, of course, and
if you soak your potatoes, your slices before you make them into the chips in sugar water, you will have a better flavor.
Oh,
Oh.
what a great
That,
idea! Thank
that's
you.
what they do when you buy frozen French fries. They have been soaked in sugar water.
that's why they're so addictive.
Yeah, yeah, and that's
Yes.
why they taste better than when you make them at home.
Yeah.
And that's why
Okay,
I got
so
the girlish figure that I do.
yeah, me too. That's why look, I like what Stitching Up said. Stitching It Up, Capturing Country Life said, I don't have a favorite yet, but I haven't tried all these methods, but was considering dehydrating next. Once I froze chopped onions, it didn't work great. Yeah, I'm with you on that. I've tried freezing like chopped onions and things like that. And when I thaw it out, it turns to mush. So
Mhm.
I am better off actually dehydrating them or just buying them dehydrated because it's just easier sometimes. But when you have onions or you've grown your own, you want to find ways to preserve them. And you don't when you don't know what's going to work, sometimes you're more hesitant to try a new way because you don't want to waste what you've taken all that time to grow. Does that make sense or does that sound completely selfish? Because whenever I'm doing something new, Eric's like, "Well, you just grew all this. Why don't you do such and such with it?" And I'm like, "I don't want to ruin it." And he said to me, "Well, yeah, but you've tried other ways." And I'm like, "Yeah, but I've just I've just grown all this. It's taken all this time. I don't want to ruin it by doing something that's just trash." But I
But
feel like
stitching it up, I want to
everyone,
ask stitching it up. What did you use your onions for? Because I freeze my
yeah,
onions. but I flash freeze them before so they don't, because if you freeze it all together and you haven't froze it before, it comes out like a ball of onions.
It's
So
onions water too. Onion and onion water.
right. But see,
Yeah.
I cook with straight frozen onions. Like for fajitas, I take
Yeah.
out the frozen onions, frozen peppers, throw it in the pan, and it's not as watery and gross if I would have thawed it out before cooking it. So stitching it up, put in the chat, what do you use your onions for?
Yeah, see, I think that's where I go wrong. I don't flash freeze, and I wish I had the patience that you have, but I'm gonna be real honest, my brain doesn't have the capacity to wait. If I put it in the freezer, it either needs to be frozen like that, or it's just gonna go in the freezer and I'm gonna forget it's there until I need to use it for 5 years later. Like I can't be like, "Oh, I'm gonna flash freeze this and pull it out in an hour and a half and then shake it down in my little baggie." That's not. I can't. I don't live like that. Like there's I will
You
literally
don't live
forget it's
that
in
life.
there. I will forget it's in there, and then like 2 weeks later, Eric's gonna be like, "Monica, why is there a tray of onions sitting in a refrigerator or a freezer?" And I'm gonna be like, "Oh, I was flash freezing them."
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
interesting when you try different things on, like Monica's saying, because like I like dehydrated onions. I like to throw them in my soups or when I'm frying up something. Um, but like when my daughter put onions in the freeze dryer, they looked beautiful. I mean, seriously beautiful. But she said when she tried to reconstitute them, they just fell apart and was just mush. So I wouldn't do that in a freeze dryer, but I would dehydrate them or I'd flash freeze them. Um, I I've even actually canned onions, you know. So there's a lot of different options for you. You don't have to go out and buy every single piece of equipment.
Right. And I think that's also smart that you said that, Sandy, because it's true. It's not even just you really can't say completely team canning or team dehydrating because certain preservation methods works better with other items. Like I have noticed that I don't like canned squash or zucchini. I've tried it. It just is really mushy and gross. And I mean, if need be, I would eat it, but I prefer for squash freezing it, flash freezing, then putting it in a bag and chunks. So that's what I prefer to do. Now, if I had a freeze dryer, Harvest Right, I would definitely be freeze drying the squash and stuff. But I've also tried freezing corn. Don't like frozen corn. I liked canned corn. So I mean, it really is dependent on the vegetable what preservation method I choose. And do you have an opinion on that?
The kids are a little crazy right this very second. So excuse the noise in the background, but all of it sounds wonderful. As far as what we do with onions, we really do freeze them. I would prefer, of course, to be able to have them dehydrated, I think, because I do that with my onion tops that are in the garden. We have onion tops.
Mhm.
Sorry, I had to tell them be quiet for just a second. But we have onion tops that every time that I use a fresh onion, I save the bottom of it where the roots are and go and put it out in the garden.
Yeah.
And it's not going to grow more onions, but it will grow me beautiful green onion stems. And so I'll bring those in and chop them. And they dehydrate so beautifully and they're delicious in meals. They're just wonderful.
Mhm.
Yum.
Yeah, it's really exciting. All the things that we have that are possible that they didn't even have, say, 50 years ago, that we can preserve things and you will find your favorites on every single vegetable and fruit.
Hmm.
It's true. Well, I think Prayer Living Twin said, "What are y'all talking about?" We're talking about dehydrating and canning and freeze drying and just using the freezer, all the different ways you can preserve your food. And maybe what's your favorite way? There is a poll in both my Bland's Promised Land Ranch and in Ormsby Farms. We have little polls going right now and just asking, what's your favorite way to preserve your food? I mean, we all have our own preserving ways that we have as our favorite, but again, I think we still use food that's been preserved all of those ways that we've been talking about. I mean, I don't have a freeze dryer that I use myself, but I have purchased many of the Augustin Farms freeze dried foods that I have sitting waiting. I have other brands, freeze dried foods that I have sitting in the number 10 cans, just waiting in case I need to use them or need to break them open and put them in my food. That was, a matter of fact, I was looking for carrots the other night and I was like, I need to check my Amazon purchases to see if I ever bought dehydrated or freeze dried carrots. So I went to go see if I had freeze dried carrots in my pantry stock because I couldn't remember. And I'm not like Casey, that has like a little list. Casey's got like the master database, and he's like, yes, I have purchased freeze dried carrots. They're on A3, section 4 of my pantry. I'm not like that. I've got like stashes here, stashes there, stashes maybe underneath of that stuff over there. But I went looking for what I could find, but it's nice to be able to have those to pull them out when you're done. I agree. I have a freeze dried. I don't like a lot of freeze dried food. So I guess it just depends on what you're putting in it and what you're trying. I love the idea of trying to freeze dry meals. Like that would probably be me, with leftovers, right? So we made chili the other night, and the minute I was finished, I loaded them into jars. They're in like pint jars, and they're going to go on the shelf, like Casey said. Because if Eric wants to take chili the next day, he can. But if he wants to wait till next week and take the same chili that I made the past Wednesday, he can take that if he wants. It's there, it's waiting, and it's not taking up space in my refrigerator. I would love to freeze dry leftovers. Like that would be my jam. I would be filling up those trays every night that I have freeze dried meals and trying it that way. Now, I imagine it's not as quick, obviously, as my canner, but
Right.
that's probably something I'd be trying because I would love to be able to say, this is what we have for long term. I mean, freeze dryer really is for longer term, I think, for us, if that's what would it be. So, yeah,
Well,
I
and
still,
also you mentioned Augustin Farms, and just for anybody that's watching, if you see the QR code, if you scan the QR code, Round the Hay Bale is actually affiliates with Augustin Farm, and you can go scan our little QR code, head over there, put in Hay Bale, and you get 10% off of your purchase. I love getting the freeze dried Augustin Farms food. To do like meals in a jar, like for soups and casseroles and that kind of stuff. So I just wanted to throw that out there that
Right.
we are affiliate. It doesn't cost you anymore. It doesn't
They
cost
can
you anymore.
also they can also check our linked tree on Round the Hay Bale and
Mhm.
get the same kind of, because if you're on your phone, it's a little difficult to scan that QR code unless you come back to see the video later. But to
Right.
go to the link tree, then that gives you the link right away.
Mhm. It does.
I was at a farmer's market not too long ago, and there's a guy that is growing all types of mushrooms, and then he is freeze drying them. And so I bought this big bag of lion's mane mushrooms, and I thought, well, that's just another option for people. You know,
Mhm.
sometimes there's little farmer market stores that are open year round that you might be able to find them on. You can buy them online. Look around your area because you might be surprised. You may not be able to afford a freeze dryer, but there are freeze dried products out there. Yeah,
Yes,
so
they are. And
Absolutely.
I'm on the way down to Petals from the Past. And earlier we talked about preserving for herbs and making your own apothecary and things like that. And I made a ton of cayenne pepper infused castor oil and calendula infused castor oil. So I'm going to be able to share that with some people that are down there, which is going to be fun.
that is so cool, Anne. Yeah. So uh, Casey had asked, what kind of things are you? How are you preserving your food in the chat? And if there's any kind of specialty thing that you guys do, share that in the chat so that maybe somebody else could try that.
Mhm.
That's right. Sorry, I'm trying to mute when the kids. We're at a bathroom stop, and the kids are getting in and out of the car. So I'm trying to mute when it's a whole bunch of noise, and I keep forgetting and switching the mute on when I want to talk, and switching it off when I don't want to talk, and it's kind of crazy. So anyway, as far as preserving our food, I did have a group that came into the house recently, and what they were asking me that very question. What is the best thing that you would use electricity for to be able to preserve your food? And we were able to use the dehydrator and use the canner and things like that. When we first started gardening, if we didn't eat it, and it didn't go in the freezer, we kind of wasted it. But now it's so precious because you're growing these little bitty seeds and it takes so long and you finally get food off of it and you need to learn how to preserve that. And that's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, I saw that Pam was saying about air drying. Have any of you guys air dried before?
I've
You
air
know,
dried my herbs, but that's about it.
I've air
because
dried my laundry. That's about it.
So I want to be. I have cured though before, but it's not necessarily air drying because I've cured meat before, like home cured. But it's something that I've thought about because you can actually like do that with meat too, right? Like
Mhm.
air dry. So I have a book about preserving meat and stuff, and I'm like, ooh. But we've cured hams. I've cured my own ham before. I was freaking out about it the whole time, but I did cure it, and we didn't die. So
Well, we make these, you can take old windows frames that don't have any windows in them anymore, put screens on them, and put your stuff, your vegetables in between. So, because I don't want flies touching my stuff. Some people don't really mind that. You see these pictures and it's just open. I don't like that. So we have screens on both sides. But you might as well use the sun if that's what, and if it's an option for you. What if the electricity went down for a couple days?
Right, that's a great idea. I unfortunately the only thing I have air dried was goldenrod. I did hang goldenrod up to
Same.
dry, but it was really dusty. So it's really dusty, and I thought, that's a lot of dirt in there. So I'd have to find a better way. Like you say, Sandy, with the screens, that would be a much better way to do it.
Yeah, and I
like
used great big bags, paper
yeah,
bags,
Sandy
and I
uses
put it in
bags. Yeah, we were talking about preserving like our herbs and stuff, and Sandy recommended putting your stuff in brown paper bags. I
there.
think that's what you said, right? So
Yeah,
that
right.
way it doesn't get dusty. Because we have a lot of dust in this place,
I
and
was gonna
we can
say
sweep,
yes.
and we can sweep again, and we can sweep a third time every day. And mind you, there is still going to be dust and cobwebs in places that I had no idea had been. I mean, like I could swear I just cleaned that, and it's just dusty all of a sudden again because we live in Texas and it's like dust bowl dusty. But yeah, bags would be great. So how would you do that if you had a large amount? Just get a bigger paper bag.
Yeah, I usually buy the lawn bags, like you can put your grass clippings in.
Oh, yeah.
And then I just I make little holes. I tie the herbs onto a string, and then I send the strings through the top part of the bag where those holes are, and then it just hangs down. I don't have to worry about dust because Wyoming can be dusty. And so it just works perfect.
Okay, that's pretty cool. I like that. That's pretty cool. If you can use a Sunder wind, then use it. Absolutely. I
Uh,
think that that's one of the things Eric wants to do here at the farm is he wants to build himself a like smokehouse. Like he wants to build himself like a smoke room,
Awesome.
like a big wooden smokehouse. And I'm like, all right, you go do your thing, man. So I think that's like vision, in a few years. But I mean, yeah, that's another way to preserve our food. And that's what he's looking ahead at is if things went and we needed to be able to do everything here at the farm, could we do it?
Right. And even if things didn't go bad, having a smokehouse, like we have smokers here, we
Yeah.
love them.
Yes.
We have a giant smoker that I can literally put 5 turkeys in,
What?
or I can put all kinds of chickens on every single shelf. It is fabulous. I can smoke all the stuff before winter, and then I have it all winter long. And then
Yeah.
I pull it all apart when it's all done and put it in freezer bags. But I
Yeah.
could can it.
Yeah. That's true.
So one that I've wanted to try, I think me and Sandy have talked about it, is I've always wanted to learn, and I'm too nervous right now to do it, is salting meats. Because I know that, back in the day, a lot of meat, and when they didn't have refrigeration, was salted.
Mhm.
Have any of y'all done the salting?
Well, I did the curing. I did the ham curing, which is like salting it. You actually put this like salt brine thing on it and then you do it like that. But that's all I've done. But I've been looking into that too.
I've done some briming too, but I haven't done it where you're putting like fish and you're having in between layers of salt. I haven't done that. You do have to really soak it afterwards, or you have a really salty taste. It's just things that you have to know, but it
Well,
is
it's
an
going to taste like my cucumber chips, is basically what you're saying.
well, probably even a little more than your cucumber chips.
Oh my goodness. They
Well,
were real,
guys,
they're real salty, but y'all, we are just rolling up on 30 minutes. We
yeah.
probably chat about preserving for another 3 or 4 hours, but we won't do that to you, audience. We promise. Um, Thank you for everyone that came in. We thoroughly appreciate all of y'all for spending your 30 minutes of your Friday with us every single Friday. It means so much to see y'all come in and say hello and give us thumbs up and listening to the podcast. We're having such a blast. Y'all remember that our podcasts do come out every Monday. We're right at the end of our first half of the season, and we're just about to start shooting more episodes for the end of the season, so you won't want to miss that. Y'all be sure to go over to the Round the Hay Bale YouTube page, because when we hit 500 subscribers, we are going to be doing a giveaway. We have a lot of fun giveaway treats. So y'all, thanks so much for coming in, and we will see y'all next Friday on Hey Y'all Hey. Bye y'all, bye.
Are you enjoying the Hay Bale topics? To learn more, click on our Linktree link to get all of our product recommendations, along with discount codes and more.
Hey Monica, did you know it's now even easier to listen to Round the Hay Bale podcast?
What? Really? How easy?
That's right. All you have to do is say, Alexa, play Round the Hay Bale podcast.
Playing Round the Hay Bale podcast on Apple Music.
Ooh, we're really fancy now.
Tune in to Round the Hay Bale every Monday at 9 a.m. Central Time.
We're back.
And now live every Friday.
With new topics and a new time.
Don't forget, a new host.
Yay, that's right. Sandy joins the panel for Hey Y'all Hey radio show.
Now, on Fridays at 11 a.m. Central.
We'll see y'all there.